Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donnelly Auctions Hour.
Hey, welcome back to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. You're here with Mike and Randy Donnelly. We run the Donnelly's Auctions out in Union, Illinois. And for the next hour, we're going to be talking about some of our upcoming auctions and things we're looking for future auctions. How you doing, Randy?
Hey, I'm doing good. Great 4th this weekend, huh?
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, definitely a good time. Nice weather, everything.
It just kind of goes on and on. Here it is Saturday, and everybody's still celebrating. When it's in midweek like that, it just kind of, it's like a mini vacation.
It is. It definitely is.
So what's on the agenda for today, Mike? We're going to start with talking about upcoming auctions and then talk about what we're looking for later, huh?
Sure. Yeah, let's start with what's coming up next. Will be July 13th and 14th, which is a Saturday and Sunday, is our next gun and military auction. These are always some of our best attended auctions. Guys come in from all over to pick up some good vintage and modern guns and also add to their military collections, too.
You know, Mike, it really has become a full 1/3 of our business now is guns and military. It is surprising to me how popular this hobby is, you know. But sometimes it's not just a hobby. I mean, so many of these weapons are used for hunting, so it goes into sporting. There's military collectors that are always looking for items to add to their military collection. So there's so many different ways that people buy firearms and ammunition and everything.
Yeah, and on the military collectors, I mean, military collections have always been hot. I mean, anything from Civil War all the way up to modern wars. I mean, it's history. We're selling history here. And if you've collected these items or one of your loved ones has collected them, I mean, this is the place to sell them. I mean, a lot of people look at their military collections as, you know, something my husband collected and I don't really know what it is and I don't care. Some of these items have value that you just can't even imagine, and would never want to see them just given away or sold for a fraction of what they're worth.
You know, I'm surprised the way in most antiques today prices are going down because there's fewer and fewer collectors in the hobbies, but that's not the case really with military relics. We're seeing an uptick in military in certain areas. Mm-hmm. Now, it's funny that when you look back, the further you look back, like Civil War, seems to be coming down because all the collectors, you know, got old, and the next generation isn't picking up at the Civil War era. They're still buying World War II and more modern, so those areas are going up in value.
Well, and it's sad too because of Civil War. Items, they're individual items for the most part. I mean, whether it's a photograph or a uniform or a firearm or letters and diaries, they tell a story of history. And you don't get that in a lot of the other military collectibles like you do with Civil War.
No, you're right. You're right. So at any rate, that's the next auction coming up, guns and military. And boy, what a grouping we have, over 500 firearms on Saturday. And what's the dates on that, Mike? I don't have it in front of me.
That's July 13th and 14th. It's a Saturday and Sunday. It's a live and online auction. It's up right now at DonnellyAuctions.com. You can view the auctions online. You can come out. We'd love to have you come out to the auction gallery. We're just located 45 minutes northwest of O'Hare Airport, just off I-90. You can see the auction live. We'll feed you that day. I mean, it's a good time out there. You get a chance to meet other collectors, too.
Also, I should point out that we do have a viewing the day before on Friday.
That's Friday, yes, usually from noon till 7 p.m. is our viewing, so you can come out and get up and close and personal with the items then.
A lot of good opportunities here. But so, again, guns on Saturday and all these military relics. Boy, we've got some really super groupings.
You know, one of my favorites, it's kind of a crossover between the military collectors and guns, is that 45 that came in that had been brand new, where the man from Illinois, I believe he went overseas, and he died of the flu
During World War I,
during
correct?
World War I, yeah.
So this is a 1911 .45 semi-automatic pistol.
Correct. Yeah, and was in his holster. He died before he ever saw any combat, and all his items were shipped back. And this government-issued .45 was wrapped up in his footlocker with his uniforms, and came back and sat there for over 70 years before it came to us. And it is just magnificent. And it's a piece. It's not only firearm, but it tells a story. It's a piece of history. So those are the items that I'm always most excited about. You know,
I know we did touch base on that last week, but it certainly bears repeating because the quality of that one item is just extraordinary.
Yeah, and if you go up to DonnellyAuctions.com, there's a whole listing just on that. You can read the whole story about it and see the pictures of it online, too. It's got its own listing.
And we've got so many items in the military auction that have strong, what we always refer to as provenance, where they actually came from family members who acquired these during wartime.
And we're seeing that now. You know, most of the veterans, especially World War II, have unfortunately passed now. And we're finding now the family members, whether it be the sons or the grandsons or whatever, they really don't have the connection that the person who brought it back has to it. So we're finding collections coming in and Foot Lockers coming in from family members from second and third generation past. And more than anything, they want to see it go somewhere that somebody will appreciate it and be able to tell the story. So that's what a lot of these military collectors are doing. When they buy it, they want to research the history and tell the story.
You know, one woman, Mike, I wanted to mention to our audience, had actually called us on World War II German relics, and she said, oh, these Nazi items, she said, I just think I should throw them away. She said, but a neighbor told me to call you to find out if they have value. And she wanted to throw them away because the stigma of the swastika and Nazi memorabilia. And when I explained to her, no, geez, these are war trophies that veterans fought for and were encouraged to send home by the United States government, passed the War Booty Act of 1941, where they really encouraged GIs to send these things home to the home front. That was kind of, I guess, our form of propaganda. But at any rate, when she received her check, she didn't call, but she again told her friend who contacted me about how thrilled she was because her check was over $2,000. She was thinking of throwing these things away.
And again, to that point, Randy, please everybody understand, we are not, when we're selling the German military souvenirs, especially the Nazi ones, we're not glorifying this at all. I mean, this is historic items. They always say you have to remember history or else you'll repeat it. These aren't being sold to any organizations that promote this or anything. We deal with true collectors who are documenting the history of these items. So.
And it's surprising how many of these items actually go into museums.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we sell a lot of things in museums. That's for sure.
So what else do we have? We've only got a couple minutes in this segment, but guns and military. But we've got the big Mancuso auction in July.
That comes up, Friday night, July 19th. It's a live and online auction, but it is by invitation only due to the limitations.
Limited seating, right? Yeah. We don't want you to think by any means that this is some reason that we're screening people or anything else. No. It's just that we've only got 50 seats.
It's held at the dealership in Lake Bluff, so
right.
It's not
it's not at our facility with unlimited seating. So when we say invitation only, that doesn't mean we have to reach out to you. You reach out to us and let us know you want to come, and we'll get you a ticket. There's no cost whatsoever to get in, but you do need, we need to know that you're coming because, like I say, we have limited seating. So invitation simply means let us know you want to come to this auction. And oh my goodness, what a selection we have for you. The best of the best in advertising items. If you're looking for some really great pieces of automobile memorabilia and advertising, Petroliana, we refer to it as, for your man cave or your collection or anything. this is it, because you could have only gotten these items being a Ferrari dealership, which Mr. Mancuso is selling part of his collection, items that he's saved over the years. And then we've got a great selection of race cars, the real deal. These items go on our website right now, DonnellyAuctions.com, and look these cars over. You'll really be surprised as to what we have.
I was looking last night, and we're already getting bids on items. So,
yeah, well, it's only a few weeks away, July 19th. So don't miss that one.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we're going to be talking about future auctions and items that Randy and I are looking for upcoming auctions also. So stay tuned. You're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour here on AM 560. We'll be right back.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. I'm Mike Donnelly here with my brother Randy Donnelly, and we're talking about upcoming auctions we have right now. And in July, we've already talked about our gun and military auction and the Lake Forest Ferrari auction, July 19th. After that, we have an online auction only for antique and modern collectible knives. That's on July 24th. And
boy, oh boy, hasn't knife collecting been a wild ride as far as a hobby goes? It's absolutely incredible, the variety of knives that you can collect. I mean, whether they be folding knives, fixed knives, switchblades, there's so many different avenues and areas, hunting knives, military knives, my goodness. But this auction is fabulous. How many items in it?
I think there's over 600 lots, but well over 1,000 knives.
Over 1,000 knives is what I thought.
This was one man's collection, and he collected in all different fields of knife collecting, so he didn't specialize in one area. So there's something here for everybody.
And what I want to point out about this particular auction, no reserves. Absolutely. I mean, whatever they go for, they are selling. So definitely a lot of bids on the knives already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's what are called automatic knives in there, too. We refer to them as switchblades, but they're automatic knives, and we have questions about those. And those are legal now in Illinois. There's certain states that ban them yet, and we would always, especially if you're bidding online, we suggest you check with your local laws, or you probably know if you're collecting knives what you can and cannot buy. But in Illinois, switchblades are legal to buy and sell.
Yep.
So go ahead.
Okay, but the knife auction, again, a great selection. And, folks out there, we're always looking for more, regardless of, whether you've got one item or a whole collection. I mean, we'll sell it for you. We always use our term. We like to make it fit in your wallet. So Randall knives are just fabulous. If you have any knives out there marked Randall, these knives are just huge, huge money. And so many people on the way here, Mike was talking to me saying it's surprising how people have acquired these items in their family for years. So they've always been around and they never think of them as valuable. They don't even know how they got acquired into the estate or what have you. Sometimes there's just no knowledge as to, again, who brought it into the family, how it got there, or what it's worth. And these are not the kind of things, again, you can sell off at a garage sale not knowing, because people pick up Randall knives at garage sales all the time for $10, $20 and resell them at auction for $1,000 or $2,000. So don't let that happen to you. Get it checked out. Costs nothing for us to evaluate your collections for you.
No, it's simple as just taking a photograph of the item, whether your phone or with your camera, and sending it to DonnellyAuctions.com. I mean, every day, part of our job is to go through Lillian will bring us pictures of collectibles and such, and we'll write our evaluations, and then she'll answer your emails and such. But don't be afraid to ask. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here. Is
Now, it's not always good news. Just a couple of days ago, a guy said to me, he said, "Oh, you've just deflated me." He said, "I can't believe." He said, "I was expecting a big number here," and he says, "You've just really let me down." Well, no, I'm not letting him down. I'm being honest. What you need to know. Sometimes collections don't have great value, and maybe you've overthought it over the years and think that, they're really valuable. Well, that also can hurt trying to sell it if you think things are worth too much, because that's not good either. You need to really know what your items are valued at. And sometimes, unfortunately, we don't have great news for you, but you're going to get an honest evaluation.
Yeah, we're not trying to buy your items when you're looking for an appraisal for us. We're trying to give you an estimate of what we truly believe we can get for you at auction. And, we become partners in this. The only way we make money is to make money for you. So we're going to fight for every dollar. It's not like we're trying to lowball you on what the items are worth. As Randy said, so many of these items have come down in value, and we'll, once in a while we'll have a wife come to us and say, "Well, my husband paid, $10,000 for this back in 1970, and that same item may only be worth $3,000 or $4,000 now."
Yep.
So, there are a lot of things that have dropped in value, but on the flip side of the coin, there's a lot of things that have increased in value too. So you have to check them out.
So, Mike, we touched on we've got the knife auction coming up in July. What else have we got going forward?
Well, on my calendar here, we have August 8th, which is our next coins and currency auction. That's an online auction only. And again, coins and currency are something we usually have, 2 or 3 coins and currency auctions a year. And
absolutely. We get into homes and we might be there for a gun collection, and people say, "Oh my God, I heard on the radio that you take coins too." Well, of course we do. Anything collectible, we're looking for, and any quantity, whether it be a single item or a whole collection, again, we can help you and get it all sold for you.
And I want to give a little talk to the husbands out there right now. We understand you collect the stuff. Your collection is what defines you. It defines all of us, the things we collect. But do your families a favor. If you don't want to tell them outright, write down somewhere what these things are worth and to be careful of, because we hate to see them given away. I mean, sometimes, husband will pass away and the husband's friends come in and say, "Well, I'd like to buy this and like to buy that," and they don't give a good, fair value as to what things are worth sometimes. And you got to understand, this is money that is coming to you and you deserve, so you have to get the top dollar you can for your items. You only have one chance to sell the items.
Boy, you're so spot on with that, Mike. Sadly, we see it all the time. And yes, husbands, guys out there that are listening to it, do your families a favor and have the talk. Have the talk. Whether you're selling now or whether you're hanging on to these items until after you pass, definitely try to let the families know your thoughts on what some of these things are worth and how you want to see them disposed of after.
Yeah, we hear it all the time. We'll be set up at shows, advertising our auctions, and we'll engage in conversations with guys, talk about their collections. And we'll always say, "Do you want to consign anything?" "Oh, no, I'm going to let my family deal with that." Well, that's fine. But again, don't set
them
up for
some direction.
Don't set them up for failure in this, guys. I mean, it's you've collected it, and now it'll be time someday for them to cash in on it.
So what's next after coins and?
And August 17th and 18th, we have our Summer Classic.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
Yep.
What an auction.
Yep. The Summer Classic is actually the first time we're going to do this. Usually we do a Spring Classic and a Fall Classic, and these are typically our biggest auctions of the year, which have the highest price items and just unbelievable stuff. Cars, motorcycles, slot machines, jukeboxes, Coke machines, invention and technology items. I mean, it just goes on and on of the great stuff we have.
It really does. I mean, we've got some fabulous pieces. I mean, over 25 cars right now. barn finds, just the way so many people want to get their car. But these are really great examples of barn finds. Sometimes it's rusty gold. We've got a little of that. But some of these cars are ready to drive just as is.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it might need a new set of tires on them or something like that. But, I mean, just beautiful. Like Randy said, drivers, what you just like to be able to do is throw a set of tires and get plates and take it for a spin.
And it's amazing the calls we're still getting, with people that want to put things in. It's not too late for the August auction.
No.
We can still get your items in.
Yes,
now,
go ahead.
I want to point this out. There's one area that we're shallow on or shy on for this auction is we need gas pump globes. For this particular auction, we're a little light in this area. If you have 1 or 100 gas pump globes, the old glass globes that sat on top of a gas pump, we do need a collection of those for the August auction. So keep us in mind if you or anybody that has gas pump globes and gas pumps for that matter. Yeah. I mean, we're not just looking for the globes only, but
no, the globes can go from the hundreds on the low end up into the thousands.
Into the thousands for sure. Yeah, very few globes are only worth 100 or 2 nowadays. They go into the mid hundreds on up for sure.
So coming up here, we're going to take a break here in just a second here, but we're going to continue talking about the Summer Classic, which is August 17th and 18th. It'll be up online very shortly. And then we're going to talk about some of the items that have just arrived and also what we're looking for. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour here on AM 560.
You're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back. I'm Mike Donnelly here with my brother Randy Donnelly from Donnelly Auctions, located in Union, Illinois, just northwest of the city of Chicago. We're talking about some of our upcoming auctions here. The July 13th and 14th Gun & Military, the Lake Forest Ferrari, July 19th. July 24th is our knife auction, and we're currently talking about our Summer Classic, which has all the great stuff here. That's August 17th and 18th, which is a Saturday and Sunday. And
I mean, we've got all kinds of things. I mean, bars, back bars, chandeliers, you name it. Even this week we picked up 8 Nickelodeons from the south side of Chicago.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know what a Nickelodeon is, it was musical machines that were put in taverns and small hotels and such for entertainment. You drop a coin in it, and it was a roll on there, much like a player piano roll. And these machines would play several instruments. I mean, anything from a piano and xylophone to horns and whatever.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because so many people have heard the term Nickelodeon referred to as a movie theater.
Right.
When in reality, at that turn of the century period, a nickel bought just about any type of entertainment, whether it was a motion picture or putting it into an early form of jukebox, a coin-operated phonograph, or a coin-operated machine. So, but Nickelodeon, as you just said, really, in the grand scheme of things, really refers to the coin-operated piano with multiple instruments added to a piano. Mm-hmm. So, but man, the ones we picked up are just the way collectors want them. Original, untampered with, in playing condition, a nice variety of machines. And the gentleman that owned these actually was pulling these out of old taverns years ago in the city of Chicago.
Yep.
How neat.
Yep. And, those just arrived last Wednesday, so they'll be in our upcoming August auction. So look for those pretty soon.
Online. Yep. Go to DonnellyAuctions.com and look and see what we got coming up.
You know, this week we also had a neat item come in. It was a salesman sample of a early farm reaper, horse-drawn reaper. And for those of you who don't know what a salesman sample is, at the turn in the 1800s and into the early 1900s, salesmen traveled across the country selling their wares to farmers and to store owners and such that wanted to carry their products. And if a product was too big for them to carry around, like a stove or or a piece of farm machinery, the companies would create a small, exact model of it, and these were referred to as salesman samples. Salesman samples have become very collectible in their own right and can go into the thousands of dollars, even the tens of thousands of dollars. Well, last week a gentleman walked in with a little tin case, and he opened it up, and there was a salesman sample of a very early grain reaper, a horse-drawn grain reaper from the 1850s. It had been in his family for over 4 generations, so he really had no idea to the value. He said, as a little kid, he says, I always saw it at my grandmother's house, and he says, I've never paid attention. He says, now I want to lighten my load a little bit, and he says, and I brought it in. What do you think? Well, I was just shocked because I'd never seen such a beautiful example of a reaper. I mean, this thing is as nice, as original, and all complete as you would ever want. And I think he was a little shocked when I gave him a pre-auction estimate on it. It's going to go for a lot of money. And,
well, I knew how excited you were because you've had that on your desk for days now, and every time I turn around, you're tinkering with that thing, But yes, it really is a work of art. I mean, it's no different than when you display this item. It's no different than having a bronze or an oil painting, right. In your home. It's that nice a piece. The precision work on this salesman sample is much like a patent model. Where in order to get a patent, you'd have to make a miniature version and present it to the patent office years ago. But one of the reasons that people had to have salesman samples is there was no such thing as televisions, radios, magazines, even to put ads in magazines. That just didn't occur at that period of time in the 1850s, 1860s when these things were being made and taken around the country to sell product. It's just incredible how times have changed. What we have available to us just on our phone. You could sell any of these items on your telephone today, but back then they actually had to go door to door and try to sell an item with a salesman sample.
So if you want to learn more about salesman samples, you just Google them on the internet, and it'll tell you all you want to know about them. And you may have one laying around the house, you don't even know it, because a lot of people mistake them for finely crafted toys, and they're not. They're salesman samples. So,
that is interesting because so many salesman samples really got destroyed by kids using them as toys. Yeah. So to find one in this mint of condition, it's far and few between now.
Yeah, that'll be coming up in our August auction also. So if you have any early invention and technology items out there too, we're always looking for that. Early telephones. Early electric appliances.
Slot machines, jukeboxes, anything coin operated, you name it.
It runs the gamut of what we're looking for. We'll talk more about that when we come back. Items we're looking for here. So we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour here on AM 560, The Answer. We'll be right back.
More of the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back. I'm Mike Donnelly here with my brother Randy, and we run the Donnelly's Auctions out in Union, Illinois. And you can look at all of our upcoming auctions at DonnellyAuctions.com. And we've been talking here about some of our upcoming auctions and kind of morphed into what we're looking for upcoming auctions here, things you might have around the house that you want to turn into cash. So what do you name it, Randy? We're looking for it, right? I mean, we can start with anything, fire and police items. I mean, didn't somebody just call with a...
Well, you first you mentioned fire and police just last week. We did have a phone call. Somebody has 10 fire trucks that they're thinking of selling, and so we'll be giving an estimate on those items. So, yes, we're always looking for fire memorabilia, whether it be fire badges, helmets, fire horns, nozzles. I mean, anything, uniforms, especially, but anything in old fire and police, same thing. One thing that we have not had in a long time is an old squad car, or, a vintage squad car, or a police motorcycle. We haven't had either of those in a long, long time. So if you've got anything like that, give us a call.
We buy such crazy stuff. We've bought jail cells where we've had to go into the city halls and taken the old jail cells out. I mean, anything like that. If one of your loved ones or ancestors had served, as a police officer or a fireman, and maybe got their uniforms and things like that, and you just, have no use for them anymore, we can turn those into cash. There's collectors out there all over the United States that are just go crazy for this stuff.
This is an unedited show, and Mike did just say, we bought this and we bought that, when in reality, yes, we were always buyers. Mike and I bought for the last 50 years, buying and selling before we did auctions full time. And I do want you to know that, yes, we will still buy. Mm-hmm. We will still buy a single item or an entire collection if that's the route you chose to go. But I tell you all the time, we're auctioning items for people right now so that you make more profit than selling outright. We will buy them. We will tell you what we'll pay for the items, but we'll tell you what we believe you can get for them at auction, because if we buy items, we're going to sell them at our own auction. Mm-hmm. So you might as well do the same thing. But when he mentioned buying, we're still buying.
Another item we're looking for is gangster items. Now, Chicago was rich in history in the gangster era, and when we're talking the golden age of the gangster era, from early 1900s up until probably the 1940s at the very latest, is what we would refer to for collectibles. But there are things out there. I mean, old photographs of gangsters, items that they might have owned. We've had pistols that have belonged to gangsters. Personal items, clothing, hats.
Who was that? Did that pistol belong to that gentleman found under the front seat of the car?
Babyface Nelson.
Babyface Nelson's pistol.
Yeah.
Wasn't that right in Elgin, Illinois?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A man actually went under the front seat, and he was only a kid at the time, went under the front seat in Babyface Nelson's car and pulled a pistol out of there.
Yeah, he was shot right by federal agents right near Barrington on Route 14. I guess the car was sitting on Route 14 and for a couple days, and he just went over there and looked under the seat. And that started him on a career as collectible.
As a collector of gangster memorabilia, right.
Yeah. So gangster items, gambling, and old saloon items are always a favorite. I mean, everybody's, not everybody, but a lot of people still have slot machines in their basement. If you're not using them anymore, call us. We can make those fit in your wallet. Very easily. There's a lot of collectors for that.
Slot machines and pinball machines.
Pinball machines have taken on a life of their own. 5 years ago, we probably would have passed on pinball machines, but they have really taken off and very collectible now, especially like the early baseball machines. The baseball machines, they just bring a premium. So if you have any of these, and whether they're working or not, we have technicians that'll get them working. So don't be afraid that you think it doesn't work. I'm not going to call. No, we want those items. So send us pictures to DonnellyAuctions.com or give us a call at 815-923-7000 because we're always looking for that. We just had a lot of guitars come in, too. Vintage guitars.
My goodness, guitars. We are launching a guitar auction in October, which is not that far away if you've got vintage guitars. Now, again, one item, even if it's a onesie, we've sold guitars for, over $30,000 already. So don't discount, having just one guitar. Let us know what you've got. If it's a Martin, a Gibson, a Fender, there's many, many names to look for. We can't mention them all on the air, but let us know what you have, because whether it's one item or a whole collection, we've got over 100 guitars right now for our October auction. We can use 100 more.
And we're also looking for rock and roll memorabilia, too, from the 50s and 60s. A lot of that'll bring premium posters from concerts, just items that the bands wore and such, autographs. It's amazing what some of these items will bring, and you won't know until you contact us and find out.
Well, yeah, and you may have all the old microphones and equipment from your band, from your old garage band. Some of that could be very valuable today.
Yeah, you'd be surprised with, like you said, what do those old microphones bring? I mean, we've seen microphones go into the thousands of
Absolutely.
dollars. Yeah. So right now, again, we're talking about things we're looking for, and we're going to take a quick little break here, our last break of the show. And when we come back, we continue on things we're looking for and how we can help you turn those into cash.
And make it fit in your wallet.
Yeah. So, again, you're talking to the Donnelly Auction, or listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour here on AM 560, The Answer, and we'll be right back.
The Donnelly Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donnelly Auctions Hour. You're listening to Mike and Randy Donnelly here. We run Donnelly Auctions out in Union, Illinois. And we're talking about things we're looking for and how we can help you sell them. We were just talking about guitars and amps and such. But one of the things we also work with is estates, lawyers, that have to settle estates. We can go in and liquidate whole estates, too. So,
boy, we sure can. And, I was, Mike, I was just a couple days ago, as you know, in Elgin looking at a house, and the folks did talk to me about having Shauna potentially list this house, and we'll be selling it to the bones, even though we went in there for guns. Since we are, in fact, if we do, in fact, take the house on, we'll actually sell off all the contents for them. Normally in this segment, Shauna comes on and does our real estate section, but she's at a closing today, so she can't be on the air with us. But you're right. Complete estates, we'll handle it all for you.
Yeah, so especially if, a lot of times the relatives are out of town and they don't want to deal with it, we can go in, we can give you an appraisal of what we think it's going to go for and handle the wholesale. And like Randy said, we can sell the real estate. It's one-stop shopping here.
So if you're an executor, give us a call, 815-923-7000, or go to DonnellyAuctions.com. Also, Mike, museums, wouldn't you say? I mean, we do a lot of work with museums.
We've worked with a lot of museums that have to thin their collections. And, what happens a lot of times is somebody will pass away and donate items to a museum. And if it doesn't fit within the scope of their collections, they have to. They can't just keep storing items, so they liquidate and use those funds for other projects at the museum. So we've handled a lot of items from museums over the years.
Also, if you are involved with a municipality having any problems with statues or just items sometimes in the parks, cannons, tanks, big military vehicles that over the years have become, somewhat of an insurance liability, with the kids playing on them and everything. We can turn those items into huge money for municipalities. We can sell military vehicles and cannons and everything at auction, as well as big, huge statues, because very often it may be unpopular today to have certain statues in a public sector, but privately, a lot of people want to own them. So we can help relocate and turn it into a profitable situation for everybody.
And we're always looking for signs. That's one of my favorite things is signs. Big signs on the sides of buildings, the neon advertising signs that they advertise businesses, and we'll take them down. You don't have to take them off the building yourself. We can handle all that.
That's right. Yeah, we'll take care of it right in place for you. We've got movers that can do all this work.
And any kind of signs. I mean, it doesn't have to be a big, huge outdoor sign, but even small little signs, little soda pop signs, and little push plates off doors. You'd be surprised what some of those bring. So anything in the signs we're always looking for. And again, too, cars and motorcycles for our upcoming auction. Please call us if you have any cars and anything from the earliest days of motoring in the 00s up until the 70s. We can sell for you very easily.
And Mike, don't forget to mention license plates.
Oh yeah, license plates.
We've become known for our license plate work.
So, yeah, if you have any license plates, especially runs where there's multiple years, those will always bring a premium. And the lowest number, the lower the number, the better. That's when they really start to bring big money. And if they're made of porcelain, the early ones were actually made of porcelain-coated steel. Those are the ones from any state. They bring just tremendous money. So anyway, I think it's going to wrap it up for the week already. That's pretty quick show here today, Randy.
Yeah, it is. It's we never have enough time. We're always out of time on the show. I wish we had more, but come back and talk to us again next week, or call us during the week.
And as always, I'm Mike.
And I'm Randy Donnelly. And we'll see you at the auction.
Thanks for listening to the Donnelly Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonnellyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonnellyAuctions.com.